As our productivity in research has increased and as we have expanded our engagement with entrepreneurs and established businesses to help them be successful, we also realized that we would need to raise our game beyond what the state could do for us, particularly in a time of recession. And thus Portal, this building, was born in concept. Portal is our field of dreams, but it is based on more than a wish or a hope, and I don't think any of us were hearing voices in our heads when we thought about it. Indeed, it's based on more than 25 years of solid experience of operating a successful business incubator, now known as Ventureprise, and it builds upon a technology development record that usually places us in the top 5 universities in the country with respect to inventions, patents, and startup companies created as a result of every research dollar expended. Portal provides us with an expanded, visible, and proximate platform for a variety of activities that will bring our faculty closer to entrepreneurs, business partners, and our capacity in technology transfer. And critically, to place our undergraduate and our graduate students right in the center of the university's role in regional economic development. Now, this would not be a university unless we could come up with a clever acronym to describe this initiative. When we started our Energy Production and Infrastructure Center, we had a great acronym. The Energy Production and Infrastructure Center became EPIC. Who couldn't get excited about something that was epic? So building on that experience, I do have to credit Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development, Bob Wilhelm, with coming up with the Partnership, Outreach, and Research to Accelerate Learning, or Portal. Now, to be fully truthful about this, Bob was borrowing a branding concept that we had used for years for the Charlotte Research Institute, which he directs to this day. CRI was established to serve as the portal through which entrepreneurs and established businesses could access the intellectual power and assets of the university. Portal, this building, is the physical embodiment of that idea. And I'm not sure how many scratch pads and pencils Bob went through trying to make it work, but he did. So we'll forgive him, and we'll forgive you if you can't remember what portal actually means. The important thing is, come on through to the portal. It's going to house a variety of functions and activities, and those will be described more by Bob Wilhelm in just a few minutes. But I should note that there will be an acronym within the acronym, because Portal will also house a sensitive compartmented information facility, or a SCIF, for classified or proprietary work by university researchers and business partners. That's about all we can tell you, because if we told you more, we would be visited by one of those 3-lettered government agencies. Now, no state funds have gone into the construction of this building. We've taken on a long-term obligation funded from the revenues we receive as a result of competing for research contracts and grants. But as I'm sure most of you know, the most successful private-public partnerships require public investment at some point. That's what we've seen at EPIC, as North Carolina's investment in the construction of that building and the hiring of new faculty has already stimulated many millions of support in industry support, private contributions, and government research contracts. We're very honored that Governor Pat McCrory is with us today, and that he chose Portal and UNC Charlotte for the location of a business roundtable on entrepreneurship earlier today, just finished as a matter of fact. Now, every successful governor in this country must serve as the economic developer-in-chief for his or her state. And Governor McCrory has taken on this role in North Carolina with the same energy and determination that he did with his 14 years of service as the mayor of our city of Charlotte. Within the last year, the governor has announced significant jobs and investments by companies, large and small, that are great partners of UNC Charlotte, including some big ones, Arriva, MetLife, and Electrolux. And as he did as mayor, the governor is committed to growing innovation, small business, and entrepreneurs. Those that got their start on this campus, those that got their start in the Ben Craig Center, and those that will develop here in Portal. The governor and I are actually old friends, and during his time as the mayor of Charlotte, we spoke often about the catalytic relationship that can exist between the business community and the university if the right infrastructure is in place. And it was the mayor's commitment to the development of light rail and its extension to the university that will see the light rail stop, the light rail station on North Tryon Street, right behind this building, in early 2017. The governor has long understood that linking brains with trains was a good idea. So after the governor speaks, I will ask Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development, Dr. Bob Wilhelm, to make his remarks. Bob has served in that role for 2 years after having served 6 years as Executive Director of the Charlotte Research Institute, both a role and a title that he still holds to this day. We put the portal project in Bob's very capable hands because we knew he could deliver it on time and on budget. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome the 74th Governor of the state of North Carolina, Governor Pat McCrory.
Thank you all very much. It's great to be back home. I love coming home. Most of you don't know, but I come home about every weekend. And this gave me a great excuse to come home on a Friday instead of a Saturday. And it seems like yesterday when Phil and I met, he was in his first week as chancellor of this great university. And I came to him as in my third or fourth or fifth or sixth term, I can't remember what year, and said, Phil, we've got to have the connection to UNC Charlotte for the light rail line in the long-term 25-year plan. And Phil, without hesitation, said, we want to connect to Charlotte. And what's interesting about this portal announcement today is this portal, it's not just about infrastructure connecting to the downtown city of Charlotte. It's about connecting this university to the private sector throughout the rest of the world. And that's what UNC Charlotte's all about, is connecting academia with jobs. And one of my major challenges and one of my major goals and one of our major challenges must be to connect academia with commerce and people making money, because that's what it's all about. So we can build future buildings just like this throughout North Carolina and put food on the plates of hardworking families throughout North Carolina. And this portal just had one of the most successful meetings that I've had in my first 13 months as governor. I just had a meeting with a group of entrepreneurs throughout this region, and it's the entrepreneurs that I love to meet with, because it's the entrepreneurs that are going to drive jobs throughout North Carolina and throughout this country. And I'd like all the entrepreneurs in this room to raise their hand right now. Look at that. You're my heroes. I just had a meeting with these entrepreneurs and great members of this professors who work here at UNC Charlotte. And to see the partnership between the two develop is exactly why this building has been built. It's to connect the academia research and the learnings with people who are willing to risk their investments and their talents and their sweat equity in building new businesses in this area. And we just had a meeting around a round table where they gave me some extremely good feedback as governor. Karen, I wish Karen Pop, they were in their Board of Trustees meeting. I'd like to thank you for your leadership also. And Ed McMahon from the Board of Governors, and Kathy Besant here, a great friend of mine from Bank of America, John Lassiter, who's chairman of my Economic Development Board for the state of North Carolina. This meeting talked about what can we do better in North Carolina to connect the entrepreneurs and also encourage academia to create the commercialization of research that is done in buildings such as this. And a lot of it's just basic strategy and communications and connecting one section with the other and forming that partnership. So great entrepreneurs like I see to my right can continue to build a business that started with 3 or 4 people and then is now to 50 to 60 to 70 people in North Carolina. In this room, we may have the next Bill Gates right here in this room coming out of this portal, and to create a business which will multiply, not just in the Charlotte region, but throughout this country. And that is our goal. And that's why I just want to say I'm so supportive, Phil, of this dynamic partnership between academia and the private sector. And because that's the way we're going to beat the competition. And I've told Nikki Haley across the border, I said, Nikki, we're going to take you down. North Carolina is going to win the competitive battles for business and for entrepreneurs. And of course, Nikki responded and said, may the best woman win. So I hired Sharon Decker as my commerce secretary, and I've got the best individual to head up the commerce, right here from the Charlotte region, I might add. But I just want to say thank you for this partnership, because this is what it's all about, is connecting commerce with academia and to create jobs in North Carolina. Thank you, and God bless each one of you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. UNC Charlotte has a long history of connecting with the region in the state of North Carolina. The Charlotte Research Institute is our business partner organization, growing applied interdisciplinary research and connecting our results with corporate, institutional, and entrepreneurial partners. So it's this mixing that we're really working on here. The new Portal building offers many features to extend and to amplify that mission. A contemporary open design draws academia, corporate partners, and entrepreneurs to mix and create new ideas that we think will be the new products and companies that the Charlotte region is known for. Our student incubator, just next door here to my right or your left, the 49-year Foundry has a prominent location between our Ventureprise offices just behind and our newest Ventureprise clients. Our technology transfer office, just to the other side of the building, is only steps away. And upstairs on the third floor, C5 Insight, one of our successful Ventureprise clients, has over 20 employees in the building today. All told, we have over 40 startup employees here now with the 9 companies that we moved in at the beginning of the month. Look up to the 4th floor, or if you circle back down to the ground floor, and you'll see prime real estate for our corporate and government partners. We're actively marketing this space, so see me afterwards. I've got a deal for you. If you go behind the panels here, the white and yellow panels, near what is the Institute Circle entrance for the building, we're also opening a cafe to keep the ideas flowing with coffee, a variety of food offerings. We're still working on the branding on this. I'd like to think we could call it maybe Chef Bob's or Bistro Robert. Today is the first of many events that we're going to have in the Portal building. We had our roundtable, business education roundtable a little bit earlier. The Charlotte Venture Challenge, the region's premier startup competition, will be here in May. And with ongoing programs like our new Innovation Connections, Portal will be the prime networking location for business and investment sources. Portal is right in the middle of the Charlotte Research Institute campus, surrounded by many of our strongest research centers. So that way, bioinformatics, metrology, motorsports, biomedical engineering, optoelectronics, and then of course EPIC, the Energy Production Infrastructure Center, all here. And then we will also be drawing on over 26,500 students and over 1,000 faculty members throughout the UNC Charlotte campus. We've positioned Ventureprise and Portal to be a key partner in the larger startup and innovation ecosystem in the Charlotte region. Louis Foreman joins us today to talk further about this. Louis serves on the Ventureprise board, is chairman of the USPTO Patent Public Advisory Committee, founder of Invensis, I think a pretty well-known company here in Charlotte and beyond, and the executive producer of the Emmy Award-winning PBS show Everyday Edisons. Louis?
And thank you. It's a very tough act to follow, Bob and Governor McCrory. I'm honored to be with you this afternoon because being on a college campus really brings me back to my entrepreneurial roots. I started my first business in college, and it was in my fraternity room, and it was a legal business. And I've been starting and growing businesses really ever since. I've never been an employee, probably would never be a very good employee, because I enjoy taking risk. I love creating. And what I create is I create companies. I create products, I create jobs, and I create opportunities. And those are opportunities that brought me here to Charlotte. You know, entrepreneurs have a unique ability. We're able to process risk and reward. We see a situation, and we're able to determine very quickly whether or not that situation warrants investment, warrants risk. And that processing doesn't happen on a spreadsheet or a computer. It happens right here in our gut, because entrepreneurs understand the balance between risk and reward. And so 18 years ago, I moved here to Charlotte to pursue an opportunity. And I've got to tell you, the landscape has changed in 18 years. Not only the city, but this university. And the perception of entrepreneurs has changed as well. When I moved here 18 years ago and I told people what I did, I told people that I was an entrepreneur, they kind of looked at me a little funny. And they said, "Oh, okay, I get it. You're not smart enough to work at a bank." Because, you know, back then, entrepreneurs didn't have any respect. They didn't have the great deal of support or resources, and the accomplishments that they pursued were not celebrated. You know, David Jones mentioned earlier about being the Rodney Dangerfield, and he's absolutely right, because entrepreneurs lack a lot of respect, and that's changing, because today that's no longer the case. Today, we sit at the intersection of entrepreneurship and innovation. Maybe not literally, although I think our governor could change the intersection, right? Maybe change the name of a few streets here. But seriously, the pursuits of innovators and the journeys of entrepreneurs will converge at this location. The support and resources for innovation now has a home, and it's an impressive one. I mean, just look around. This is a real testament to what the public and the private sector can do together. The support and resources are critical for entrepreneurs. You know, on our PBS TV show, Everyday Edisons, I've had the privilege to meet some of this country's most successful innovators and entrepreneurs. I've been able to travel to the places where they started their businesses and see what resources they had that made them successful to allow a great idea to flourish, to take root and actually grow into something. How they went from their eureka moment to seeing their idea commercialized and available to consumers. And one of the consistent stories that I hear is that coming up with the idea, that's the easy part. Coming up with an idea is simple, but it's the execution that unlocks the real value. It's the execution, the follow-through, that turns that idea into a great product or service. And along the way, you need the right resources and the right support that allows that idea to flourish. Now, of course, there's always risk in this process. And sometimes there's failure. But you know what? That's okay. Because if we don't fail sometimes, then we're not really reaching far enough. We're missing out on the game-changing disruptive technologies that can change an entire industry. And what we need to do is continue to support the needs of our entrepreneurs. We need to encourage them to take risk and understand that those failures will occur, but help them learn from those failures and prop them back up to do it again. You know, James Dyson had 5,127 prototypes before he was satisfied with his vacuum cleaner. That means he had 5,126 failures before he was ready to go to market. And we love to tell those stories. We love to tell the stories of the successful entrepreneurs and inventors, but today is a celebration as well, because today we celebrate entrepreneurs. Today we celebrate innovation. Today we celebrate the vision and the execution and the follow-through of this university and everyone who is involved in this project for recognizing the needs of this community and actually following through and doing something about it. This facility represents an important investment. It's an investment in innovation. It's an investment in job creation. It's an investment in creating a culture that embraces change, that embraces entrepreneurs and the role that they play not only in this university and in this city, but in this state. And most importantly, like any good investment, it's an investment that will pay dividends for many years to come. Thank you.
As chair of the UNC Charlotte Board of Trustees, I'd like to convey the board's vigorous support for the university's commitment to the development of the regional economy. This beautiful new building that we're dedicating today is a shining example of that important relationship of this university with the economy in this area. So put so nicely by the governor. As you have heard, Portal has been designed to stimulate business growth and job creation, along with promoting research and innovation. As you might expect, facilities like this just don't happen. It takes a lot of work. It took the combined efforts of a large team of dedicated partners to make today possible. Of course, it was our chancellor and his team which collectively developed the vision for Portal and to set in motion the planning process. And I'd like to recognize some of those people today. Vice Chancellor for Business Affairs, Beth Harden, who I know is here, assembled a skilled team of people from both business affairs and academic affairs to develop an innovative financial plan for the design and construction of the Portal building with no state funding. Peace Architects and their design partner NBBJ providing a stunning building design, as you can see, looking above you and hopefully walking around during the reception, that embodies the kind of industry-university interactions and partnerships that have already started to happen in this facility, and we even heard meetings that happened today. Michael Barnes served as the lead project architect. Charlotte-based Edifice has served as the Portal construction manager. Under the leadership of John Hashney and his project team, Edifice has successfully delivered an exceptional building on time and within budget. Vice Chancellor Bob Wilhelm, who we heard from today, and his staff, particularly Chris Jansen and the CRI team, worked in partnership with Associate Vice Chancellor for Facilities Management Phil Jones and his team to shepherd the design and construction process. And of course, virtually all of these people are here today. I would like to now do the dedication. And it's, again, so wonderful to see all of you here to be part of this wonderful moment. I'd like to ask the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor, Mr. Wilhelm, and also the Governor and Mr. Foreman to join me upstairs, as the Chancellor just said. Now, we're going to arm each of you with a pair of scissors, okay, in a moment. And as the Chancellor asked, please remain in place. And let me say officially, it is with my distinct pleasure and on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire UNC Charlotte campus community to officially dedicate Portal, a facility for partnership, outreach, and research to accelerate learning. Thank you.